This is Worth Kick Legend. Today we're going to show you JKD counters to the rear round kick. So we're getting more audience engagement, which is wonderful, and one of the discussions that came up was alternate ways to cut off the rear round kick. Ideas from Wing Chun and JKD seem very natural, so of course we're here at MKG Detroit.
So we're looking at what we would refer to in class as the rear middle now tech. So anywhere towards the floating ribs that we're doing a round kick with this rear leg. So if he puts one in here, bonk, just like that. Okay, so our first response, since we're looking at JKD, is to intercept. Most of what we're going to look at today, since these are counters, are going to be intercepting. And intercepting requires that a few things happen. First and foremost, that you be faster, right? So we're looking at straight line, center line attacks, very common, of course, in JKD, so that we can fit inside his round shot by going straight down the middle. So I'm doing left lead right now. Whatever lead you want to do is fine, but since we're both, we want to be in the same lead. So when he puts this through, I'm just going to come in and push his chest. Okay, from a self-defense standpoint, that's actually great. Anything you can do to drive his momentum backwards is going to turn the power off or disengage that kick. Bang, just like that. Okay. What we're really looking at here, perhaps, is to just gyuji to the face. That's a finger jab here, right towards the eyes, could be towards the throat, anything like that. So again, bang, just cutting that line off and getting inside. Bang, like that. Now, this isn't always the safest thing to train. If you want to practice this one, go fingertips up so you're not accidentally putting this in their eyes. Fingertips up also means that if you've got the reach, you might be palm striking their face by way of training it this way. Also not a bad idea. And of course, this could just be lead hand, chung choi, or just a straight vertical shot. Here, bang, like that. So again, hit, and hit, like this. So, as a simulation, we push the chest. Back. Hands are up high, back. And in. So I'm taking a short, advancing step and slide forward, or maybe a push shuffle, depending on our range, so that I can close the line, get inside of his power, and cut it off here. Okay? Okay?
Yeah. What I really like about that is you get to train the motion a little more realistically, a little more athletically without hurting your partner. Kurt and I were going over the list of all the classical techniques, and we're like, well, that one's very effective, but maybe not the easiest thing to do safely, and the chest push is wonderful. And of the three that we're going to show, the one that you could do at the highest velocity safely.
For the second one, we move from the high line to the low, we're moving from hands to feet. So as he puts the kick in, I'm going to practice my side kick towards his base leg. So we would either say jeet tech or juk tech. For us, it has to do with your intention and the way that you're using this side kick. It'd be fair to say a jeet juk tech, which would be an intercepting, offensive, sort of jamming side kick. So our intention here is to injure the side of his knee by buckling it sideways towards the rear. I'm going to place my foot on his thigh. It should still have this buckling effect like that, but it's safer for his joints, for his body. Be mindful as you're practicing this that you stay clear of the knee and the groin. So, again, bang. So the momentum of this shot buckles that leg and causes his weight to dump behind him, cuts the power of the kick off. You might have some incidental contact, but for the most part, you should be in good shape. This can be done percussive, so that it's stomped in like that, or there's more of like a pistoning in and out, so that there's a little bit of a push that happens here, like that. If I try to slow it down, bang, that way. That's my personal preference. I find it's safer on the receiving end too, especially if your training partner doesn't have a lot of reps. The one that just pops in and out like that, it's hard to get the target just right, so take your time with it. The push is maybe a little more natural.
Yeah. I find when we're sparring this, sometimes getting offline allows you to do this without having to put it in as convincingly if you're just worried about hurting your partners, right? A lot of these things work great if they're 100% right on the angle that actually breaks the joint. We don't want to spar like that. Don't spar with people who want to spar like that. So I find if someone's throwing the round kick, getting offline also allows me to do it on the half beat, which is actually a little less disruptive to him. It's almost like being nice on purpose so I can learn how that works, because it's hard to get offline and kick at the same time. That's two separate things. Whereas if Kurt does it direct, that's on the motion, right? He can't get offline and kick at the same time unless he's jumping side kicking, which maybe is a more Taekwondo episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're having trouble here, if your timing isn't quite working, you're not getting offline, you're still getting hit. If you're moving, then it's fine to just kick inside, right? You can do a classic, like a tie cut kick, or do an inside and outside kick with that lead like that, and just take your momentum with you. But I like the straight down the middle, forward center line nature of this shot here like that. That also allows me to advance right away.
One thing we noticed while working through this was that the rear leg front kick, or teep, to the standing leg didn't seem to be working as well for us as we wanted to, especially within the realm of training safety, right? Of course, if I have the wherewithal to blow through his standing leg, yeah, that's a good counter. But ramping that up in a way that's safe, we found it challenging because the rotation of the standing leg tends to make the front kick glance off towards the outside and almost helps me rotate into the kick. We'll just show that slowly a few times to see what that looks like. So you see he's kind of catching a piece of me. Could do, right? Could disrupt my balance, but I feel like I'm hitting him reasonably well as well, right? So as we ramp that up logically, I start kicking 100%, he starts kicking 100%. He's still eating more force than I am if he can't nail that dead on.
Yeah, from my perspective, I have to go really fast in order to use my rear tool here to get this. And to me, from a safe training standpoint, it's different for everybody, but I'm not as comfortable with that. I like that this is already so much closer as my lead leg for the side kick. I can put it in with a little bit of momentum, still be relatively safe, and know that I don't have to go twice as fast to get there because I'm that much closer. So it lets me play with the momentum in more of a safer space. So for our last idea, we're going to look at what happens when we pass the leg through or just stall it and turn it into something else. It's a little more ornate. We always say it's a little more martial arty. It's very effective, just need more reps of it. But I think it's a lot of fun. So for this one, we're going to stop here on the near side like this. It doesn't have to be a big power block. It's just something to stall it a little bit, okay? Bearing in mind, someone with a lot of Thai boxing training, yes, this is going to be a heavy shot with their shin against your forearm. So it's just something you'll have to account for or get used to. So from this position, we add the scoop over top. So we stop here and throw it out. Again, stop here and throw it out. You see this in a lot of different arts, done in a lot of different ways. I like to follow up from here because you get the rear, right? So you can kick right up the middle if this is a self-defense exercise that you're working on. You can stomp here and go into a takedown position or start hitting right away if that's relevant to what you're doing. And if not, then you can at least target the legs or whatever, again, your art will dictate.
When I deliver the kick, he has all these options to the organs that are very hard to guess which way he's going, right? If he's kicking this way, it's almost invisible to me, right? He can also pick up these ones, and I can't defend both at the same time, right? I have to elect to cover this one, which means he has this one. I can elect to cover this one, and if you have a shoe, sneaking around the corner is actually still quite powerful. Even without the shoe, I mean, it's an internal organ.
Okay, so for our last variation on this theme of stopping and passing or following up from this position, before we had stop and then pass through. Now we're going to stop more with this hand and shelf from underneath. So when it comes in, it looks fairly similar, but I'm stalling it here and catching this in the crook of my elbow. Now I'm hammering with this one instead of my left, in order to break the structure and bring him down, right? And our follow-up is going to look like whatever your art dictates from here, whatever sort of leg locking or grappling that you have. So again, you can stay up here like this, right, and drive. It gives you a nice barrier when you're looking at multiple opponents. Or bring the whole thing down and follow up accordingly. This is one you have to be careful with your training partner. Don't just drop your whole body weight onto their leg. They might meet the ground face or knee first. Okay, so just take your time, get used to the movement. You can make this really gentle here. Just use like 2 fingers, turn it over, he'll fall. Good enough.
So I hope you found that useful. Try it out, train it safely, right back to see what worked well for you. If you find a way to train something that maybe we didn't think is safe, but you know how to do it in a way that works, we'd love to hear about it, right? But in the meantime, check out MKG Detroit here in Ferndale, check out your local MKG schools, check out your local JKD schools, whatever. Get out and training, have fun. This is Roy Kick Legend, keep your chin down, elevate your striking.